Today we're going to apply a whole bunch of skills that we have. We are going to be solving systems to determine a quadratic equation. Remember that solving systems means either by substitution or elimination or by graphing. But right now we're taking the graph out, so substitution or elimination. The question says a parabola has a y-intercept of 2 and contains the points -1, 1 and -4, 10. What's the equation of the parabola? So if we just think about this, -1, 1 and -4, 10, those points are on the parabola. We don't know if the parabola goes this way or if the parabola goes that way, or whether it's really wide or anything. Just that those 2 points are on the parabola. Now we do know that it has a y-intercept of 2. So that y-intercept is 2. Now the fact that we know the y-intercept, or it's given to us, is going to tell us how we're going to start to solve this. And we're going to look at the 3 forms of a quadratic equation. So we have standard form, we have factored form, and we have vertex form or graphing form. Now, if the question tells us the y-intercept, we should be looking at which one of these forms we should use. Now, the y-intercept is our c value in standard form. So we're going to start with standard form. And instead of c, we can put in 2. Now the next thing that we can look at is we are given 2 different points. Remembering that those points really are an xy value. And that the other point, to satisfy the same quadratic formula, or the same quadratic equation, is another set of x and y that will also be true once we know what a and b are. So because of that, we're going to sub in our 2 equations. So we're going to sub in -1 for x and +1 for x for one equation. We're going to sub in -4 for x and 10 for y in our second equation. For the first one, everywhere we see y, we're going to put 1. Everywhere we see x, we're going to put -1. There's one equation. We're going to do the same for -4 and 10. And there's our second equation. Now we have 2 equations with 2 variables, or 2 unknowns, b and a. So we can solve by substitution or elimination. These aren't very pretty, so let's clean them up a bit. We have constants on both sides, we have a square of a number, so let's clean them up. If I think about, I'm going to take all the numbers to one side. Let's say subtract 2 from the right, subtract 2 from the left. Right now, I'm just going to look at that, and I'm going to do all this and work to the right. So, 1 take away 2, -1. -1 squared is 1a. b times -1 is take away 1b. So there's a simplified equation. Again, I don't need to show 1a or negative 1b. That can just be negative b. I might, well, let's just leave that for now. Now look at the second one. To simplify it the same way, in the collect like terms, negative 4 squared is 16 times a is 16a. Negative 4 times b, negative 4b. So again, I have equation 1, and I have equation 2. Depending on how I want to solve, I might rearrange one of the equations and sub it in, substitution, or I could multiply one of the equations to have the same number, the same coefficient, and then eliminate. This first one, let's do by substitution. So I'm going to rearrange equation 1 to isolate one of the variables. I'll get a by itself. So I'm going to add a b to the right, add a b to the left. And I've got b, positive b, take away 1 is equal to a. So there's my new equation 1. So remember substitution, I'm going to sub my rearranged equation 1 into my simplified equation 2. So I'm going to take all of that, I'm going to sub it in there. Everywhere I see a, I'm going to put b minus 1. Now I proceed as usual, math. Distribute. 16 times b. Collect like terms. 16 plus 8 is 24. 16b, take away 4b is 12b. Solve for my unknown. And b is 2. So again, part of my equation, b is equal to 2. So for my final equation here, b is equal to 2. I just found that. I already know my y-intercept. So this is what I'm trying to find. The equation of the parabola that these 2 points are on. So looking for my a value. Now I'm going to sub where I had that b equals 2 back into equation 1. So where I see b, I'm going to put 2 minus 1 equals a, and a equals 1. Again, I don't have to show that, but there it is. So the equation is y equals x squared plus 2x plus 2 in standard form. Okay, let's try another example. Parabola has a y-intercept of 7. So once again, I know I'm working with standard form. Contains the points negative 2, 11, and negative 8, and negative 1. So let's sub in what we know. For the first equation, y is 11, don't know a, x is negative 2, and I have a y-intercept of 7. Here's my first equation. My second equation. Same thing. Sub in my value for y. Sub in my value for x. And sub in my y-intercept for my value for c. Again, let's clean it up. I'm going to work to the right, and we're going to review elimination. Take away 7 from the right, take away 7 from the left. 11 minus 7. 4. Negative 2 squared. 4 times A. Negative 2 times B. Here's my simplified equation 1. Do the same thing for equation 2. That should be a negative 1. Negative 8 squared is 64 times A. Negative 8 times B. So elimination. You need to see the coefficients in front of A, are they the same? No. Coefficients in front of B, are they the same? No. Can I multiply equation 1 to make some of the coefficients the same? Absolutely. So in this case, I'm going to say I'm going to multiply the first equation by 4 so that I can get those to be the same. So everything in the equation is times 4. 4 times 4, 16. 4a times 4, 16a. Negative 2b times 4, negative 8b. This one, just sliding right over. To eliminate, if the signs are the same, I'm going to subtract. So equation 1, subtract equation 2. Communication of what I'm doing. I can write the negative signs to remind myself. 16, take away negative 8. 16 plus 8, 24. 16, take away 64 is negative 48. A. Negative 8, take away negative 8 is negative 8b plus 8b, which is 0b. Remember, I don't need to show that. Okay, let's isolate and solve. Positive divided by negative, negative. 24 over 48 reduces to the fraction 1/2. And that is my value for A. Again, I can now take that, sub that A equals negative 1/2 into original 1, simplified 1, larger 1, original 2, simplified 2. I'm going to do it into simplified 1 because it is smaller numbers. Four times negative 1/2, negative 2. Now I've got a value for A, got a value for B. So, therefore, the equation is y equals negative 1/2 x squared minus 3x plus 7. And I have used my understanding, substitution and elimination to actually find an equation for a parabola.